Good morning. Today we're going to learn about the definition of critical thinking. So in our first chapter, so I'm going to start now. Um, Okay, the definition of critical thinking is intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying and analyzing, synthesizing or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning or communication as a guide to belief and action. In exemplary form, it is based on universal intellectual values, transcends subject matters division, clarity, accuracy, precision, consistency, relevance, sound evidence, good reasons, depth, breadth, and fairness. It entails the examination of the structure or elements through implicit or reasoning purpose, problem or question at issue, assumption, concept, empirical grounding, reasonable leading to conclusions, implications, consequences, objection from alternative viewpoint, and frame of reference. Critical thinking, in being responsive to variable subjects, matter, and purposes, is incorporated in a family of interwoven modes of thinking. Among them, scientific thinking, mathematical thinking, historical thinking, anthropological thinking, economic thinking, moral thinking, and philosophical thinking. This is why it is important for you to grasp this subject. Critical thinking can be seen of having two components. One, a set of information and belief generating processing skill. Two, the habit based on intellectual commitment of using skills to guide behavior. It is thus to be contrasted with one, mere acquisition and retention of information alone because it involves particular way which information sought and treated. The mere possession of set of skills because it involves the continual use of them. 3. The mere use of those skills acts as an exercise with the acceptance of their result. Critical thinking varies according to motivation underlying it. The grounding of selfish motivates is often manifested in the skillful manipulation of ideas, service on own or one own group vested interest. As such, is typically intellectual flawed, however pragmatically successful might be. When grounded in fair-mindedness, intellectual integrity is typically higher order of intellectuality through subject change of idealism by habituated to a selfish use. Meaning, when you have information, you manage to use this information critically, manage to analyze it, and study it critically. Characteristic identifies 8 characteristics of critical thinking. Critical thinking involves asking questions, defining a problem, examining evidence, analyzing assumptions and biases, avoiding emotional reasoning, avoiding oversimplification, considering others' interpretation, and tolerating ambiguity. Ambiguity means something that is not clear. Dealing with ambiguity is also seen by Strom and Baucus as essential part of critical thinking. Ambiguity and doubt serve a critical thinking function and are necessary and even productive part of the process. Another characteristic of critical thinking identified by many sources is metacognition. Metacognition is thinking about one's own thinking. More specifically, metacognition is being aware of one's thinking and perform specific tasks when using this awareness to control what is doing. First, thinking about something that is not clear. Second is thinking about those not clear thoughts and studying it. Characteristic: critical thinking involves asking questions, defining a problem, examining evidence, analyzing assumptions and biases, avoiding emotional reasoning, avoiding oversimplification, considering other interpretation and tolerating ambiguity. Critical thinkers are skeptical, open-minded, value fair-minded, respect evidence and reasoning, respect clarity and precision, look at different points of view, and will change position when reason needs them to do so. Criteria to think of critically must apply. Criteria need to have a condition that must be met before having something judged as believable. Although the argument can be made that each subject area has different criteria, some standard applies to all subjects. An assertion must be based on logically relevant, accurate facts based on credible sources, precise and bias free from logical fallacies, logically consistent and strong reason. Argument is a statement or proposition with supporting evidence. Critical thinking involves identifying, evaluating, and constructing arguments. Reasoning is the ability to infer a conclusion from one or multiple premises. To do so, it requires examining logical relationship among statement of data. Point of view, the way one view the world, shape one construction of meaning. In search for understanding, critical thinkers view phenomena from many different point of view. Procedures for applying criteria. Other type of thinking use general produce. Critical thinking makes use of many procedures. These procedures include asking questions, making judgment, and identifying in some assumption. So, strong critical thinkers demonstrate the following characteristic. Inquisitive with regards to wide range of issues. Concerned, become and remain well informed. Attentive, self-confidence, open mind, flexible, alert, understand the opinions of others, fair-mindedness, honesty, prudence, willingness to reconsider and revise review. Parts of critical thinking. First, collecting information. Collecting all the information when making a decision is important part of the critical thinking process. If you're planning your outfit for the day, you take everything from weather forecast to your school work, dress code to comfort to consideration. Once you gather all the information you need, you can now move to the next step, evaluating information to make the best decision about what you would wear. And then you collect data. We collect data need to make decision. Evaluating is allowed to use the innovation skill, innovating or thinking of new approaches to old problems. Provide the ability to come up with fresh ideas to create possibility for solution. In weather forecast, warm but rainy, you are afraid that plain jacket make you too hot. Innovative thought may lead you to dress and stay cool and carry umbrella to avoid get wet. Collecting information, drawing conclusion, being able to think intuitively allows you to use the evidence you gathered from thinking critically so you can develop an opinion based on the conclusion you have drawn. While you might not have all the evidence you need based on research you have conducted, you can use your intuition to make determination quickly and readily. For example, if you see that an oven is on, intuitive thinking tells you that it's probably hot and dangerous to touch. This allows you to have a precise conclusion and predict patterns even if you don't have a concrete answer yet. Collecting information, evaluating the conclusion. Evaluating the question drawn from all evidence to find all the evidence in the final step of critical thinking process. Once you completed the other 3 steps, it is important for you to decide whether not or your conclusion a fair one. For instance, if you dress for warm and rainy weather, did you remember your office has air conditioning? If your conclusion takes all the evidence that you have into consideration and allow you to make the best decision, then you have successfully completed the critical thinking process. That's all for today. Thank you.